Spring's back. We are going to try to get this boat ready for the fishing season. And as I talk, my chickens love to hear me. This is our Javelin Renegade. It's a 21.5-foot boat. And we're going to get the batteries back in there and get our trolling motor and everything ready to go for the spring season. So we have a lot of work to do. Let's get right to it. That is why we train farmers carry. Batteries are super heavy. I would say probably an easy 50 pounds each on the green ones, and but they keep this boat moving around, so they're great to have. But boy, are they heavy. So last time I did this, I basically was climbing up and down off the fender, and today I'm going to be using a ladder. When I took those batteries out in the wintertime or in the late fall, I jumped off the edge, and I'll tell you what, that weight just crushed me down and really hurt my back. So you got to really be careful when you're taking these batteries out. They are heavy, and you know, I paid for it for a couple, probably a good week after. Back, it kind of just hurt my back. So we're going to be using a ladder to get ourselves in and out of the boat easily, with getting all these batteries in, getting the trolling motor set up, getting our fish finders back in. So there's a lot to do. We got our wind screens too, so we're going to be in and out of this boat quite a bit today. So I figured using a ladder is going to just make life a lot easier instead of all that climbing and crawling. Everything's looking pretty good so far. Everything's looking nice and clean. So I'm going to change my shoes into stuff that I can stay on and off the rocks, and try to keep the boat as clean as possible. I cleaned it really well in the fall before I put it away, and hopefully it still looks like that and there's not some live animal in there kind of come running out at me. Yeah, that's going to make life a lot easier. Well, you can see we lost one of our pipes here, so we're going to have to glue that on. We definitely don't want that coming down for the winter time, and we want that to stay up there real nice. These are very easy to make. This is just PVC with some pool noodles, and that has been working out really well for me. And but as you can see, over the winter, from the wind, it loosened up, and I guess I got to glue them. I thought wedging him in there would be enough, but turns out no. That's one of them. That's two. Figure we're already in the boat, you know, let's go ahead and just mount this trolling motor up. Figure, you know what, right here anyway, might as well get this one put right on. Yeah, well, you know, it's been a while. Whenever you don't use these for a little while, I've had to go further back. It pops in there. That's only going to be moving forward, so should be good there. Get this baby plugged in. Obviously that's not going to turn on, is it? we still got those to put in. We got to get these shields on. Still got to get the batteries in. So let's get the battery compartments opened up and get those in. So this is where our trolling motor batteries go. This has a 36 volt Minn Kota on it. I don't know if from moving them around, a little bit of the battery acid kind of got out of the caps, but I figured I better wipe those down. It can definitely corrode if it's on the lead terminal, so you want to make sure that that's not going to happen. Now what I did to these batteries is, if you can look on top of the posts, I numbered them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what I did is I put some tape on the wiring, and those also have the numbering to tell me which battery goes where. Rather than throwing 1, 2 in first, we're going to throw 5, 6 in first, because that's going to be further to the back of the boat, which will probably be a little more of a pain in the butt. They have little straps on these. Strap them down before you put the wiring in there. It's just less to have to worry about getting around. Do the strapping first. Strap, buckle, bolt them up. And if you wait to the end, you're going to find that some of that wiring is going to be very difficult to get around. I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to see here. Okay, so live and learn. Let's get all the batteries in before we do any wiring. I started to wire out the back battery, but I think that was a bad idea. So we're not gonna do that. We're going to get all the batteries in first, and we'll start wiring. This way, everything will be out of the way. Bring the wiring up. I think that's how I unwired them, actually. So let's get the next one in. Okay, last but not least, making sure that they're nice and tight. Okay. So these batteries cross over. Looks like everybody's connected at this point. All right, I think we're good to go. We can start putting these on. You know, so that's what we're looking at there, and it was a real good idea to throw the numbers on there. I'm just going to leave those on there. I was thinking about taking them off just to keep it a little cleaner looking, but this is pretty much covered. Now it's time to snug them up. Looking pretty snug there. Just go over everything, make sure everything's connected well, and I think we're in good shape there. So that's that. Let's move on to the primary battery for the main engine. That's my toolbox. It's always good to have a tool set on your boat. I have had issues with actually batteries that wouldn't start the boat, and thank goodness I had my toolkit on. I took one of my batteries from the trolling motor, and I was able to bring it over here and start the boat engine and get myself over there. You know, I bought the boat used, or primary battery that was working pretty well in this get-go, but after a while it you know, with use it didn't last very long. Our trolling motors are all the 3 batteries, but when it comes to our electronics, our hummingbirds, you know, our radios, starting the rear engines, that's all off one battery. A lot of work this one battery has to do. I have a 3-way bank system, which is a charging system for my trolling motor. I'd like to purchase a trickle charge for the primary battery to make sure I don't run into that trouble again. That really stunk. That was scary. We were on the water. I was quite far from where we docked or loaded, and I was like, wow, I don't know what we're going to do here. I guess we could troll all the way back. And then I'm like, you know what? I got a toolbox here. I got 3 able batteries. I was able to pull one of those batteries, make the switch over to my primary, fired up the 200, and ripped it back. Actually, we kept fishing. You know, I didn't use trolling motors obviously anymore because I only had 24 volt. I didn't want to pressure the trolling motor by making the switch. So let's get this battery installed. Enough talking, right? Let's get to work. A lot runs off this one battery. This is what I'm saying with the strap. You can see I got wiring already trying to get in the way of the strapping. And you definitely want these strapped down. You know, these will get going. I mean, I've seen people with batteries like flying around. You don't want that. You want these strapped down very well. The boat is really moving around a lot. So, you know, the last thing you want is for your battery to be smacking around and maybe even come disconnected. Okay, I knew I brought the 1/2 inch out for some reason. These on these type of probes are 1/2 inch on your clamp style. This battery's really new. I hardly use this battery, to be honest with you, because towards the end of the season, it was probably one of the last outings. That's when I lost power. So we're gonna just draw us a little snug on these. That's pretty tight. Okay, we're good to go. We're good to go when it comes to batteries. And yeah, it looks nice and snug. Everything looks pretty neat and clean. And yeah, let's get our toolkit back in there. Like I said, this is a good idea. Pretty inexpensive too. Grabbed it at Amazon. And this has some of our, you know, safety. This is basically our safety box. Good to have a safety box. Got a lot done. Batteries all installed. Boat's fairly clean. I mean, I got a little bit of cleaning up to do with actually stuff I brought aboard when I brought the batteries back on. Got to get the Hummingbirds on. We got a Helix 9 and a Helix 7 for this boat. I was going to get the 12, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't feel it was necessary until I watched one video. And this guy was showing me, and I was watching on my my 15-inch screen on my computer. He's like, oh, do you see these little white specks here with that little tiny shadow behind it? And I mean, when I tell you specks, literally the size of a pinhead. So when you're standing up, sun's in your face, maybe a little bit of glare, that's where I think the 12s and the 15-inch screens may come in handy. The 9-inch screen, it may have to be like this a little bit. Yeah, that's where I think maybe that might come in handy. But right now I'm still with the 9s. Maybe we'll do an upgrade to a 12 and just leave the 9 as a, you know, use the 12 as a side imaging. I'm not noticing that issue so much with down imaging. It's the side imaging with the little shadows and the little white specks. You know, if you're way out there, it's a great image. It gives you a lot of information, but it's very, 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 very small to look at. So it's quite tough. All right, let's get those Hummingbirds in. It's like Christmas time. Almost forgot my foot pedal. We got our foot pedal and we got our Helixes. These will be really easy to put in, you know. I mean, it's basically, and you know, you want these easy in and out. If you ever go on a trip and you're staying at a hotel or something like that, people will steal your electronics right off your boat. I'll show you how easy it is. Basically, we have our plugs here, and I use a ram mount. I mean, super easy. And you know, you got $1,000 worth of equipment here. You definitely want this to be safe. And I just tighten up the ram mount and boom, there we are. You know, so if you, like I said, if you happen to be going away and you're going to some lakes and maybe you're staying overnight at a hotel, these can come out off and go in with you. Really super easy. Ooh, one more. This guy's all the way at the end here. Another good idea is to strap these down for transport. These covers are not cheap, and especially if you're getting the Hummingbird covers, they're probably, I mean, you can get less expensive covers, which I have gotten for the other boat, but if the wind catches them just right, they'll blast right off. So that's all set. That looks good. Man, I'm super proud of myself. The 9's pretty easy. The 9 has a single plug. So I'm going to take the strap off here. Quite easy. You can see it just latches right in. That's plugged in. That's it. And this usually is a pretty good sight line for me. So let's get these back in, the screws. Thing's a little dusty for being in the garage, but overall I think everything looks like it's pretty clean. Now we're gonna get the strap back on. Like I said, these straps are important. You definitely want these in. Or if you don't want to do it, don't bother. See what happens. Okay, next up, let's get that foot pedal on. You know, I love the iPilot, don't get me wrong, but when you're just doing some quick here and there's, I really do enjoy using the foot pedal. Find your plugs, push them tight, and that's that. Pretty pleased with the way things are going, but we're coming down to the hard stuff. I got new shields this year. The new shields I don't believe have holes in them. We're going to take a look at these and see if we can get these installed easily. I still have the old shields too. They got damaged actually. I took my boat out to have the kicker motor put on. When he did, he didn't take very much care of my cover. They had the cover on and off and they didn't put my props up on the cover. And unfortunately, we had some heavy rains while the boat was there and it weighed down my cover and it just shattered. But we do have new shields. As I said, we have to drill new holes in those. Next steps. Stay tuned next time when Kirk decides to put these shields on. Or not.